I just want to add the videos together. Hey, we're back. We took an intermission. Thomas had a phone call. We were talking about the trading journal, and I don't remember if we had anything else to touch on that topic. Did you have any other final words?
Yeah, I mean, on that topic, I want to say my final words are I want to help people stay in the game long enough to make it like a thing for them, long enough to make it a career. And I'm going to do that through a service and a product. The service being encouragement and like helpful stats or facts or whatever by text message alerts.
Mm-hmm.
So I want like a free service to just like give and keep people pushing and maybe even keep people accountable. I'd like for it to ideally be like interactive
Sure.
and
So like one of those 4chan chats or like a WhatsApp chat. People have those. Oh no, it's Discord. People use
yeah.
Discord mainly for that. So
Yeah, for mine, I'd want it to be like the actual like text message things. Like, you
okay.
know how you could text like famous people and like
Yeah.
have conversations with them or whatever.
I like that. So
And
you get
then,
the blast directed to their phone, their iPhone or Android or whatever, and they could do things off of it, or it would have a link to a helpful article or something that would help.
yeah.
And maybe they could be in different tranches of
Mhm.
the text blast and get daily updates or only trade updates or
Yeah.
industry updates. That could be pretty cool.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that'd be the service, and then the product would be like we said, like a book that they could journal. They can just like keep themselves accountable, and it also have like useful stuff in there to keep them encouraged too.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
the
and that
whole
can
point,
iterate over time.
yeah. So the
Definitely.
whole point is just I want to empower people to have the staying power because it doesn't really matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter your strategy or your skill level. It literally just matters. The only thing that matters is your mindset and like saying I'm gonna do this thing and I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah, figuring out the consistency of, again, not the tactics, but the strategy. The strategy is to make money. So within making money, you try different strategies, you try different tools, you try different things, but you have to give that thing or tool the opportunity to work. You can't go, well, I tried it once and it didn't work.
Yeah.
If you go from one thing to the next, a lot of times you will be blowing your bag. So
Yeah.
figuring out how to be consistent within silos of potential tools and having that aid you in growing your account is something that a lot of people really don't structure that way in a way of thinking. And I think you could really help them with that. So that's really good.
Yeah, my goal and my whole hope is just to keep people on the track.
Keep them on the track. Yep. Okay. So I have 2 topics from this week, and maybe 3. As I go throughout my week, really one of the things I want to make this podcast into is realizing things that I didn't realize the week before. And I know that's kind of rudimentary, but I think there's something to be said about self-reflection, like a lot of self-reflection. So I give myself intervals to reflect and then implement. So I'm going to reflect now during this podcast on the last week's events, and then throughout the next week, I'm going to implement those new changes or new ideas that I've had. So hopefully you can add some dialogue and some of your own events from this week,
I'll do my best.
so we can grow together. So there's actually 4 topics here, but some of them will parlay together. So I'm going to start off with something that I realized when I was at the gym. So I was pushing some decent weight for my size at the gym, and I was getting tired on number 9, rep 9, right? And I was going to stop because I was like, dang, I'm kind of tired. Like, I want to drink. And I was like, instantaneously, the thought came into my head when I was going back on 9 about to stop. So what I thought was, there is a me in another universe somewhere that could potentially have done number 10. And I thought, so in the realm of infinite universes, why is this not the universe where I am the best? And then I realized it could be, and I did number 10. That's a really easy example, very basic example, but if you extrapolate that out, a lot of people ask the question of, well, because I heard on a podcast in a different way, but someone was like, there's a better you out there somewhere. And I don't want to think that. I want to remind myself that I am the living proof in this reality that no matter what other infinite universes exist, I am who I need to be. and I'm going to push exactly how me in my best form would push. And so that reframes my limits. So it's not 9, it's 10. It's 11 tomorrow, or it's different weight to get to 10 again. So I think that is a concept is really powerful. So that's the whole gist of this topic. But what do you have to say about that? What do you think about how that can relate to maybe something you're doing, or just as a philosophy to reframe?
I think that it's definitely, I love that philosophy. I can't say like I personally think like that. I did have a similar experience though over like just last week, Thursday or Friday. I was also at the gym
Mm-hmm.
at my office. They got a gym in the office. It's
Oh,
pretty
it's
cool.
both.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, well,
well,
it's a
there you
big
go.
complex, so they got like a gym there. So like I
Oh, it's
left.
the one under your apartment.
No, at
Oh,
so my office is that big, like
oh, at your office.
yeah.
Okay, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I was at the gym. I was on the pull-up bar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Normally, I can do like 5 pull-ups.
Mm-hmm.
I got to 6, and when I was up on 6, I thought like, wow, I did 6. And then as I was going down, I thought to myself, that's great, you did 6. And then another voice inside my mind said, so that's it? Like you're just gonna be happy with doing
Yeah,
6?
just
Why?
because of some arbitrary new number, even if you had the exertable energy inside of you.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I just told myself, well, do you have the energy? You don't know. Let's go for 7. And
There you
then I
go.
went for 7 and I did it. And then I had
That's awesome.
repeated the thought and I said, well, let's go for 8. And then I, tried and I was like, no. I
Yeah,
mean,
but you found a new local maximum.
yeah, that's right. And I went,
Uh,
so now in my mind, it's not 5 anymore, it's 7. And
so
it could have been
now
6.
think about that. The compounded difference over time for
Yeah.
whatever
Oh,
the
that's
next
big.
time was that you would have thought, how many more can I do? Instead of doing the 7, which is what you have shown and told yourself you can do, you would have only done 6. So the next 5 workouts, you would have missed out on a potential of 5 extra pull-ups and the strength that comes along with those
Yeah.
by just setting a different local maximum. That
Off
is
of one,
very powerful.
bro, it's one event that could like dramatically shift like where you
Dramatically.
end up in the future.
That is, let's just sit and ponder on that for a second. I don't know really how we would ponder on it, but it really needs to be understood that the difference between the good and the great is that one extra pull up that tells them that they now have a new local minimum, or yeah, well, that would be their minimum. Like now, every time they need to do 7. So
Mhm.
they were the strength of 5. I'm going to do 5. I'm going to do 5. I'm going to do 5.
And if I don't do 7, now that knowing that I could do 7, if I don't do 7, there's like
You're
something wrong
not
here.
maximizing.
Yeah.
There's 2 lines. This is a maximum. This is you only doing 5. Way different. So yeah, I think that's really incredible.
We should be doing that in like all parts of our life
Every
too.
aspect of life, yeah. Like, oh wow, I wrote 2 paragraphs on this thing that I have to do for work. How do you make it better? And then once you've asked the question, how do I make it better? And do I have the energy to make it better? Or do I have whatever resource needed to make it better? And you realize you can, that should be your new standard. Don't go, oh, I wrote my 2 paragraphs, I'm done for the day. Write the 3rd paragraph or the extra sentence or whatever. So those compounded changes, if you're just aware enough to even ask the question, that's really good. I like pitting myself against the concept of I am in the most fortuitous uh, universe that exists for me. It's not like me reading a storybook of, wow, Austin Patton in a different alternate universe has extra strength. Someone out in a different universe is talking about me as the Austin that's the best.
Yeah.
So I think that puts me on like a superhero pedestal in my own mind. And when you're a superhero, you try really fucking hard. Because what superhero doesn't try really hard and
Yeah.
overcome their worst situations? None of them.
And the main kind of gist that I see here, like regardless of how you get to this like conclusion, it's all about like really trying to push yourself. Like it's more than just like doing the best or like going to your limit. It's about like expanding your limit.
Yeah, I think limit is defined incorrectly. Like in the gym is the easiest thing to like relate it to, but it relates to everything else as you said. But if we set this limit as 5, how long have you done 5 pull-ups instead of doing 7? Like you just realized you could do the 7. How long had you been doing 5 without going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5? Was it just I've been doing 5? I do 3 sets of 5.
I went from like 2 to 3 to 5.
Okay, so you did iterate. What stopped you going to 7 sooner? Because today you didn't just inject a steroid and were able to do 7 today or whatever day it was last week.
It's probably
It could have been a softer iterative curve, but it became a really sharp one because you just like asked yourself the right questions and then the mental block was gone. So again, it was defined as 5 as your pull-up limit, and then it just became 7. So like where did the gap come from?
Well,
when you set the limit at 5, I guess that's what I'm really touching on. Like our self-proclaimed limits, we're proclaiming their bests, but they are limits we set on ourselves. Because when we do the best we can, we feel accomplished. But 5 was the best you could do. 7 is the best you can do. 8 is something you could do. So redefining a limit as a thing of today or now or whatever frame of time, as opposed to the thing to like work from. Like you should be trying to beat that every day. It is now a minimum.
yeah.
7 is a minimum. 8 should be the normal.
With that being said, like you should be trying to beat that. I would say that I hadn't been thinking like that, with respect to the whole pull-up thing. Like if I'm knowing that I've done 5 and I could do 5, I've been either like just unaware and operating on autopilot. So in my mind, it's already just saying like, okay, you're gonna do 5, so get up on the bar,
And
get
do
these
those
5
5.
and be done. So yeah, who knows how much sooner, even from now, that I could have hit the 7.
That's really intriguing. Do you have anything else to add to that? Because I have a really easy segue. So it's not just self-talk. And we talked about self-talk, I think, the last 2 weeks because the internal dialogue is very important. It's not just positive self-talk, but reinforcing self-talk. So I can do 6. I can do 7. It's about telling yourself you can do those. So I think, I don't remember exactly what this related to situationally whenever I wrote this down, but if we're relating it to working out, I think the saying I said earlier is really true and rings home. The new best should be your normal minimum. Your new best should be your normal minimum. So
I get that.
That reinforces, like that's okay. Then you go to the gym, you're like, well, I've been doing 5. I did 7 one time. Maybe I just had a lot of energy. No, reinforce through the self-talk, not just, oh, positivity. Like, yeah, you can do it. Go, I did it. So reinforce, hey, I did this. You're capable of this. Let's go do this. Let's do it 2 times until failure. How much faster are you going to get to 9 or 10?
You can even, that's a good point. I could push the conversation even further, not just go into the workout saying,
it's good that you're here,
7.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like all the positives.
No, to add to that, push it even further. Not just saying like on the first set, you can do 7, so do 7. But telling myself, do 7 on the second set. Maybe do 7 on the third set.
Yeah, so the reinforcing self-talk, again, that's just an example for the gym. There are many examples. Mine was not in the gym for this topic that I have us on now. I think I was worried about a call or a speech I have to give. And I wasn't just wanting to be positive, like, yeah, the event will come and it'll be okay. Oh, this is what it was. I wanted to reinforce that I was supposed to be there and I'm supposed to be doing that thing. Because I think imposter syndrome is something that gets a lot of people to make them believe that they aren't capable. It's not necessarily that they can't do it, but they shouldn't be the ones doing it, and that shouldn't be within their capabilities. And I thought to myself, I should be able to give that speech. I was chosen to give that speech. I'm viewed as someone that can give that speech. So why does everyone believe it except for me? So then the reinforcing self-talk is all of that. Like, yeah, why would I not be giving a speech? Like, you should expect other people to have expectations of you if you are constantly iterating and making yourself better. 7, yeah, it's a new minimum. Do 8 now. Reinforcing the fact that 7 is where you should be. If I told you 2 or 5 days ago that you would be on 7, you'd be like, no, I'm doing 5 push-ups right now. I'll get the 7, or not push-ups, pull-ups. I'll get the 7 in a month or so. Done. Now, what is that month to be filled with, or that period of time that you thought it would take to get to 7? It can be filled with much more iteration. So, not just self-talk, not just positive self-talk, reinforcing who you are.
And that's done by like clearly defined statements.
Yeah, yeah. And by asking the right questions, that is in our bio on this channel for a reason. Ask the right questions to get ever closer to the answer. The answer is hard, and the answer is different for everyone. But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be a more effective answer. So ask the right questions so you know that you're closer to the right answer. Next thing is kind of different. I heard it on a Theo Vaughn podcast. He was talking to Jelly Roll, which is a country music singer, and another guy, I can't remember his name, but he is also a country music singer and songwriter. So I've thought this before, but when Jelly Roll said it today, it really spoke to me as I'm on this journey of this week for the things that I'm working on. And the saying was, never be too cool to be a fan. Never be too cool to be a fan. So Jelly Roll specifically was talking to Theo Vaughn about Theo's podcast, because Theo is one of the hottest in the podcasting game right now. Everyone loves his podcast. Everyone gets such inspiration out of it. And Jelly Roll said, my wife and kids and I watch your podcast every week. And Theo said, I know how busy you are. That means a lot. And he said, I'm never too busy to be a fan of yours, Theo. And I thought that was really incredible, because as famous as Jelly Roll is one of the top 5 streamed country music artists in the country or world, he still made time to be a fan. And I think he gains a lot of value from being a fan. And this is something I do in marketing a lot. I try to look from both sides of the creator economy and the consumer economy, because they interplay so much. You can't just be a creator. You need to understand how consumers are consuming creators' content that they enjoy,
Right.
so you can be a creator that consumers enjoy. So never being too cool to be a fan, I think, is a really fun concept, and a way of not having to boost your own ego and push other people down if they're good at something that you're not. We're all good at something. And I think diminishing other people's values to feel that we are better ignores that obvious fact. Like, there's a guy out there better than me at racing race cars or something. I don't race cars, so why would I be mad that this dude can race cars better than me? Some people, or most people, would go, if I raced race cars, I would be better than him. Well, you don't race cars. You hang drywall. So go be the best drywall hanger and be happy when you watch NASCAR and you drink some beer that this guy's good at driving a freaking car. So, yeah, never be too cool to be a fan. What do you think about that? Anything to add? I know I kind of just did a monologue of the whole thing, but maybe you have an example in your life of someone that you really admonish and admire, or someone that maybe you didn't admire until you realized, wow, they're so different than me. I can be happy for them because vicariously I'm learning something, or something of that sort.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to add that's like exactly like on point, but
Sure.
I would just say that like I've been getting more comfortable in being a fan to the point that like I want to be engaged. So the way I as a content consumer interact and engage is just like, okay, I'll see something on YouTube. I have obviously, like everyone, like certain people that I follow and watch. And then I always hit the like button on like their videos, or like if I see them on Instagram. So me even following YouTubers on Instagram hadn't really been a thing for me. But I'm starting to evolve more into like just being human, and like I appreciate this person's like value they add in my life. Let me follow them on social media. Let me like get in the comments and let me talk with other people too. So I think that it's fine and like lovely for me to be a fan. I'm really like evolving into that, and I plan on doing it more like intimately.
And you surely weren't this open to it at points in your past,
Right,
right? Like
right.
maybe you were
More
maybe not talking
passive.
about a guy that's like a race car driver and like, oh, I could race car drive better than him, but there's
Let's
probably
talk about
some
like forex traders. There's a lot of
sure.
popular forex traders on YouTube,
Yeah.
and they'll have like the day in life videos,
And maybe you're like,
and
oh, why did they have all these
yeah,
followers? Like,
I'll
what's so
let
special about them? I'm
exactly.
trading.
Yeah, I'll admit that I've had some kind of like I don't know what the exact narrative in my mind, but I would say it's not positive. I have this thing in my mind that says like when I see that, okay, that's cool. They're doing it. And I do follow them because I like know that they have results. So like I want what they want.
Hmm.
I'm aware enough to admit that. But then there's this other little thing in my mind that says like, okay, so what? I can do that and I should be there. But the reality and the fact is I'm not. And that individual has the results I want. I do not have those results. Those are facts. So I can appreciate that a lot more when I'm more honest with myself.
Sure.
And it's a lot more like freeing too. And there's so many more benefits that like we could talk on from
Yeah.
being able to get to that point. Because I feel like it's not a natural thing for a lot of people. It's not natural
Probably
for a lot
not.
of people for whatever reason.
And you said something really unique. Oh, he has the results you want. Maybe this is a little tangent, but he has the results you want, but you don't have the actions that he gave.
That's right.
And I
That's the
think that's
point.
really important. And that's been my change. And so I'll give an example real
Starting to be my
fast.
change. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'll give this example real quick. So in the startup culture, raising money is a big deal. And, Jason Calacanis has his fund launch, and he does uh, days where people present to him live and you can watch it, which is really cool to be able to experience that on the internet
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you would never be able to see that in the 90s or
That's
2000s
dope.
from venture capital. But I used to watch those and I would go, I could do that better. Like, why are they there?
But you're not there.
And I'm not there.
They
Exactly.
took the steps to get
They
there.
took the steps to get there and I didn't. And on the note of being a fan, I realized I nor any other person on this earth could do every business idea. So I decided that if they're not doing the exact same thing that I wanted to do and I wanted to compete with them, like in that race to do the same thing, I would love them. I would go, wow, this is fantastic. You thought
Yeah.
of this idea. So it shifted my whole mentality from whatever I didn't have. I still don't know surely what that was, but the fact that I wasn't on that screen bothered me.
Yeah. Same.
And it's weird admitting this because maybe it's more a gray area instead of black and white. Like I was jealous, so I talk shit. It was more like some of their ideas weren't good, but they did something I didn't in an application process to show something that I didn't. So they're there. Good for them.
Well said.
If it was that fucking easy, why did I not apply?
And I
So everyone just needs to start doing more instead of looking at other people and hating on them and being an enemy to someone you've never met, to someone you've never interacted with, to compete against. They didn't take my spot in launch. I didn't even apply.
right.
So how could I be mad at them and go, well, I could have done that. So
And if anything, this kind of like point that we've gotten to, it's more beneficial for us, like as the individual, for us as the human, because
100%.
once you're free from that, once I'm free from like whatever negativity of watching that, famous YouTuber Forex trader with the nice lifestyle,
Right.
once I'm free from that, I'm able to like more engage with more quality on both sides. But like I can, instead of just saying to myself, I can get so much more, and not in a selfish way, but it's
No, just out of a
it,
genuine experience where like, wow, this guy did this really cool thing on his video. I'm going to do that on my video.
yeah, and I could even be a fan, like we're talking about. I could be a mentee. I could ask that person and be a mentee. You never know. Like when I
Yeah.
get to that point that where they're at, we could collab. Like there's so many opportunities in life
Well, and who do you want following you, right? Like, do you want the same person with hell-bent intentions that wishes your downfall, or do you want someone that engages with you?
Yeah.
So if we can, something flew on my face. So if we can be the change and be the people that aren't there yet in our craft, but are on the process somewhere along the mountain, getting up there, and not hate or boo people, but cheer them on. I think that's really good because as small as the top is, it's not tiny. And there's
Mhm.
room for a lot of
Yeah.
people in every niche doing
That's
everything.
right.
There's
That's
a
right.
lot of money out there. So if you're only going for money, make it happen because that's easy. But if you're going for more than that, you need to figure out how to match money with substance and make it happen as well.
And also something you said there, I'd like to add to it. Life really is a journey. And so speaking to my experience and my niche as kind of using that as an example, you got the journey, you got the race of trading here,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever the goal is, be it like a yacht or $5 million house or a supercar, whatever, you got the journey. You have like some kind of goals and outcomes here, and everyone in the trading space is at different points in this journey. We should be like, if once we're aware of that, and once we're aware that like, no, yeah, once we're just aware that we're just a person in the journey, it takes
Mm-hmm.
the ego out. I think having
I
an
would
ego
agree.
is so like, it's so, give me a word
It's
here.
limiting.
It's limiting. It's so
Yeah.
limiting to have an ego. And
And
once you
and
have,
they're blinders.
they are
They're
blinders. And once
blinders.
you are aware of this right here, that you are just a person on the journey, it takes away the ego, it takes away the blinders, and you're able to like operate in more depth and
Well, you know what
fullness.
it does too? It's to the emotion point you made earlier. The common way to act in a situation on a journey you're on without realizing it's a journey is, oh my God, this thing happened. This sucks. I suck. This all sucks. This person isn't experiencing that. I'm building animosity towards them. That
Mhm.
is the normal way.
Yeah.
But with your example of understanding you're a person on a journey, you then take the negative for what it is, an experience, and you look towards the positive, the sunshine on the top of the mountain or whatever it is. It's like, wow, this is beautiful that I got the backpack, I'm on the journey and I'm making it happen. So that is the blinders off, and you're not as limited anymore when you take the punches to the chin and then you still try to make things happen in a positive fashion as opposed to blaming someone else who doesn't even know you for your failures.
Right.
So limiting versus understanding. So yeah, the understanding is really, really big deal.
And now I can point to other people in that direction of whoever the influencer is, if it helps other people just a little bit behind me in my journey. And I can also take my wins and losses, my ups and downs, and share that with the people around me too to help push. And like, we're all just going in the same direction. So why not
And you're
like,
not in a vacuum. Your audience is not in a vacuum. They do see the other traders like you on the internet.
right.
So there has to be something that makes you special. And I would say an advantage you could have instead of hating on these other people and never referencing their name because you're afraid of people leaving you is be very abundant,
Yeah.
mindset orientated. Hey guys, another trader that I learn a lot from is blank, blank, blank. I like him because of these reasons and I dislike him because of these reasons. I'm going to try as hard as I can to fulfill that gap. If anyone has the same experiences with this guy or gal, come to my channel and we can figure it out together. Boom, you just wrapped your arms around everyone that's maybe a step or two behind you and said, "Let's go up together."
Hmm.
Here's for the guys that are and gals that are more advanced, you can take this path and go around me, but for everyone else, I'm here. I'm confident enough to explain how I feel about another creator, which it takes a little bit of tact,
Hmm.
and I can be that guy for you or that person for you. I keep saying guy. Could watch Girl Traders for all I know.
They're out there too.
They're out there too. They're out there too. So yeah. What else do you got? Wedding this week. That's really exciting. Theo Vaughn. So I didn't really like Theo Vaughn. Do you know much about him? He's a
No, I don't.
comedian. Okay, he's a really good comedian. He's really funny. He's like a trailer park boy looking vibe, trailer park trash or whatever, because he's from a trailer park. And I think he holds that narrative on purpose. But
Sure. You got to
he,
have a thing.
yeah, he has a thing. And I don't think you have to have a thing. That's a topic we can talk about another time. I think being able to, if your thing is being able to evolve That's what I want my thing to be. People that know me today, I want them to just be on the journey with me forever and go, wow, this guy is
There are
choosing to iterate so fucking quickly that we want to keep up with them just to see it.
I really like this topic too because there are really good arguments to both sides. I literally in the past week have watched great speakers speak on like just pick the one thing that's building your brand and like that you're known for, then you can like evolve from that. And there are other speakers that talk about kind of like the anti niche or the anti
Mm.
brand.
You know, it's interesting. So on the brand side, they do that to build an audience and make money. And then on the other side, they're doing it to, I think, be more genuine, but they also build an audience and make
Yeah.
money. So it goes to show that as small as the top is, it's not tiny. That's what I'm going to start saying more because there's so much money out there. Every day, billions and trillions of dollars are moving. Assets are always moving. You have to be like water. And that's why your brand is really dope. But you have to be like water and move and be able to fill the cracks and see the voids and do something with that and be malleable. Malleability is something that a lot of people are afraid of because they think it's taking them off their perch.
Yeah.
But if you're not malleable in today's day and age with social media where everyone can get everything from everyone else so quickly, you are going to lose.
Dude, and I feel like we're at like an inflection point in the world. So like you need to be malleable.
So that being said, do you think the person that's anti-brand or brand orientated or focused will outweigh each other in the future, or do you still think there's enough money out there for everything?
I do think there's enough money out there for everything, but I would say that um, the more kind of anti-brand, like you are the brand, and just
Yeah,
being sincere and
that's a good
genuine.
way to think about it. Being or
You
your
are the niche.
personality being the brand is really good because as you change, other people can change as well. They can decide whether or not the new business venture you're going to is something they want to mess with or if they want to be a part of it in a certain way or not. If they don't want to, they can go to another creator. So, yeah, I think with AI and all the innovations, trying to be too brand centric will potentially lead to downfalls that we don't know of yet. So I think the safer and potentially more lucrative route would be I don't think anti-brand's the right word for it, but if we're calling it that for now, it's good because it allows you to just be a human, iterate, learn new pieces of information, and grow over time. And people who are behind you on the journey, ahead of you on the journey, or maybe on the same level. So really everyone can go, wow, I like that guy or girl. I like that person for who they are. They just so happen to talk about trading.
Mhm.
So I think I'm seeing a lot more overlap too. So there's
Yeah.
a famous Facebook marketing guy, and he started some like workout regimen program. The last guy I would have ever thought to do that, but
Like to talk about marketing and workout.
yeah. So
But he's a
he's the
human.
biggest marketing channel in the world, but he's also a human. And I think he might realize that as important as the marketing piece is and getting that, maybe he doesn't realize it's important from a business perspective, but a personal one of, hey, I like working out. I want to find more people to work out with. I have this large audience. How do I take 1% of my audience and form a workout community? Maybe that's his goal. But being more holistic
Yeah.
as a
That's
person
really
that decides to put out content, I think is becoming the alluring thing of the next generation of viewers because they don't want someone that's just doing a thing, but they want a life fulfilled through the internet. And I think you and I's generation had other ways to fulfill those needs, like in person, like with sports or whatever. But now it's really like everything's online. The youth of today are on TikTok, on Instagram, on whatever, way more than I don't even think. I guess TikTok wasn't a thing when we were kids. So yeah, I think us as adult creators from a child or a young person's perspective, they're the future. And where they start to point their fingers and the dollars start to go from their parents or how that works is where creators need to go. And I think being a positive influence on that direction of where the points are at is really good. So being the person that puts your arm around others and says, let's go this way. Hey, I'm a trader. Hey, I do this and that. Let's overlap these things. Let's see how we can build community. So I think that is, I kind of just verbalized what a community is and how it is becoming so important digitally to have your tribe, being a digital nomad or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of a tangent. I don't know if there's much more to add on that or not, but I guess did you give your opinion on what you think is going to be more important, the brand or anti-brand?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think yeah, it's going to be more important. I like the word you use, to be holistic.
just be holistic. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Um, let's talk about Theo Vaughn, and I got us off on that tangent, but so Theo as a comedian is really caring, and he sits down with his guests, and maybe he has topics because I see him sometimes like referencing something, but other times it's just what comes next to Theo Vaughn, and the crazy mind of Theo Vaughn. So he wants to know about your history. He wants to know about what's going on in your life, and he really epitomizes what I'm trying to do here, which is the fireside chat thing, which is just forgetting that there's a camera here. Like obviously we're looking at it or whatever, it's fine. But what conversation would you be having with your friends behind closed doors in a professional way? And I think training yourself to speak like that, even behind the closed door, is very respectful and good. And so I don't know. I know we're at 36 minutes. Let's just spend like 5 minutes talking about I don't know what, and I don't want to lead necessarily because I led with my topics, but just this is like a little counselor power hour. Is there anything that you watched on YouTube this week that I haven't seen that you wanted to share with me? Not related to trading, and I can't do anything related to business.
Okay. I've been watching a YouTuber that I think his name is Ali Abdal.
Hmm.
I think today he's known for productivity. He was, when he started his YouTube journey, an MIT student, and he was helping other people become students at MIT. I think it was like a med school or MIT. I don't remember, to be honest,
With
but
like content and stuff orientated towards being the pedigree to get to MIT.
yeah. So
Okay.
he's at a place that a lot of people want to be at, and so he's sharing his experience on how he got there,
Hmm.
and he helped people get there and like built an audience doing that. And so his journey on YouTube and as a person evolved from like helping people get to where he's at to then be
Ah,
like, hey, what are your study habits? Because you seem to be getting great results in this journey of like school. And now that we're here, like, what do you do for that? And so he started kind of evolving in his content output to be focused on that.
wow,
And now
that's
that,
fun.
yeah, now that like we fast forward to today, he's evolved into like being more productivity focused. But he mentions like,
Hmm.
had he been asked like 5 years before or 5 years ago, would he be like doing YouTube about productivity? He would have never even imagined that. So
Oh,
like
he said that, or you think that?
he said that.
Really? So, what do you think happened?
Well, my point of mentioning that is like to just add to the value of being aware that like being holistic,
Yeah,
having that frame,
that's interesting.
yeah, having that perspective is important.
So, was he doing interviews with students to learn about their productivity habits, or not productivity habits, just to learn what makes them a good student at the school? Like he helped them get there, and now he's like, "Hey, like you're doing really good. What did
People
you
started
do?"
at, no, people started asking him that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's an interesting transition. Maybe he found a desire or passion or something. So, what do you make of that?
What I make of it is, and that's just one person, but there are like two or three other people. I might be exaggerating, but
Sure.
definitely there are more than one person.
Hmm.
There are a handful of people that are on the vibe of like being holistic and like acknowledging that like they're not just doing one thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I can
So
respect that.
yeah, so like on a personal, just conversation between me and you, it's like influenced the way I want to brand my social
Mm.
medias. For example, we'll take YouTube channel. I had like the wave trader on there,
Hmm.
and then I changed it today or last night to Thomas Campbell.
Oh, you went back to a name?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I'm just gonna do it like that. I could see like
Excuse me.
the value of niching down and like focus on the trading, but your content like does that for you.
Your content does niche down based off of the algorithm. So I think that there is some advantage through how the algorithm serves videos today to be more holistic because, oh wow, this is actually a really good point. You can get so much exposure from one video. The one video doesn't have to fit into your previously created videos.
Right. Like my
So you can be doing all these other things, and
yeah,
then someone could go,
I
"Oh,
think
this
so.
Thomas guy's really dope. Oh, he does
And he does it
productivity too.
exactly,
Oh, he
bro.
does
That
product
that's
reviews. Bam,
that's that's been
follow."
my kind of thought. That's been my thought process because I've got like let's say I had done 4 trading vlog kind of videos, and then the
Hmm.
5th video was like a tech review about the Ray-Ban glasses.
Yeah,
And the 4 videos before were getting anywhere from like 30 views, 40 views, 160 views, and then the tech video has like 780 views.
hmm.
And so not like trying to get too much out of this because I know this is all just a learning experience for me at this point. But
Sure.
let's say I was further in the journey, like people seeing that spike, that video having the spike in views, and the new audience or the new people seeing that would could potentially do exactly what you just said. Like, okay, he does tech reviews, and then, I mean, not they wouldn't think that. They would say, this is an interesting video. It's about something that I'm interested in. And I'm just a little bit more curious about this person. Let me click in his
Yes,
YouTube channel.
yes,
Oh, he does
that's a good
trading.
insight.
I thought about doing trading.
That's a good
Let me
insight.
check this video. Because,
And and you can question the different ways of what would make you the most easily found creator online. Like, oh, I need to only do niche down videos because of this or because of that, or I need to do all this
also,
because then people can get to my profile. But understanding the drive of the consumer
yeah.
is really important.
And I feel like the consumers as a whole, I think we're going to start evolving into that more holistic thing too. Because I
No,
find
yeah,
myself doing that. Like, I watch like the chart guys. So through the name, you can imply obviously the channel is going to be totally and completely about like trading stuff,
yeah.
and it is. So when I think trading, I go there. But there are other people like I forget his name, King Swaggy C or something like that.
Hmm.
The point is, he does trading stuff too, but then he also does motivation stuff. He also does day in the life stuff. So if I want to get motivation by seeing like nice things as someone living a nice life, I can go there. And if I want to get some kind of strategy, like specific things related to trading, he also has that. And if he
Man,
talks about
that's interesting.
life, if I see him pop up in my feed talking about marriage, like relationship stuff,
Yeah,
I'm probably going to watch
you
that too
might
because,
watch it.
yeah, I trust him already.
But conversely, if the chart guys put a video up about marriage,
It would be weird as
it's
shit.
weird,
Yeah.
and that is interesting. It's like we know everyone like can have a marriage or gets married or does something outside of their niche thing, but when they
Mhm.
niche themselves into that and they just decide to their audience they're not a person or they're the brand or they're a person acting as the brand, then it's harder to trust them for anything other than the exact topic. So yeah, so there's a place for both in the world. At the top, it's small, but it's not tiny. But sounds like you and I do agree that the holistic approach is good because of the
Mhm.
algorithms. And
The algorithms are driven by the people, the
the
demand.
algorithms are the demand. Yeah. So I don't know how closely it correlates or like what the time horizon on people edging towards a certain path of wanting to see something and then the algorithm starts to favor that. But being on that wave, I think has more promise than just niching down and just doing a piece of a string of content and selling a course on that or whatever. It's so nearsighted. And if you want short-term money, you could do that. But if you're looking to build a brand long term, I think that's a better way. And I just thought of a question. What if AI does take all of our jobs in 5 years? This is just a thought. What's the term for that? Like a thought experiment question. I don't think AI is going to take all of our jobs in 5 years, but let's say it did. Would you rather be holistic and then people come to you because you're Thomas Campbell, or be the chart guys and people come to you for charts?
And I'm trying to answer this without having bias based
Yeah.
on like just what we've been talking
Yeah.
about. But like honestly, at that point, if AI took everyone's jobs and I wanted
Who the
to
fuck
get,
would need the chart guys?
yeah,
That's the question.
because it's a yeah, it's a function, and I could just have AI do that
Charting is a
function.
function of a market that is made complete or made to have all the information, which there's no ebbs and flows in a market that's perfect. And AI would be making the markets more perfect. There would still be differences, but I think the chart guys would lose a lot of their allure. Or in that industry alone, a lot of industries, the people that are only that would lose their allure, and the people that we can follow on vlogs daily or doing
Mhm.
things that we can relate to with all the free time we
Yeah,
have now that we don't have jobs, like
and
I
I
would
will
go
say,
favor them.
and I will say that Charting Man Dan from the Chart Guys as a person does have his own brand too, and I favor him and follow him, and like so that like weighs in the favor of that. But then
Interesting.
to our point,
Who are you?
if
Yeah.
if he had his own channel or this channel was just like Dan, whatever his last name is, and I had been going here for charting stuff for the most part, but like I I think that that way the way it's framed, the chart guys versus like this person here, Lambo Raul will say, like
Of course.
Lambo Raul, yeah.
Okay.
But like you're looking at like the person, you know, and here you're looking at like a brand.
Yeah.
I feel
I,
like it like limits the depth of like
it limits
the
the depth,
way
and
you
I
connect with
wonder.
that person.
I was
Because when
gonna
I think
say,
about
yeah.
Dan, I think like this guy's a great vibe. Like I love his like calm, peaceful kind of vibe, and he's feels really sincere, genuine, caring, and like I like that. But then it being under the umbrella of like the chart guys,
It's
it
kind of
just
like, how much am I missing from who this really would be?
mhm.
How do we get more on brand? Then Lamborghini Raul over here whipping up the butterfly doors on the blue Lambo, saying, "Hey, motherfuckers, come look at the Lambo and let's make some trades." Like on the way to the
Yeah.
basketball game or something. Like that's dope.
And so real life, I've just started following Lambo Raul within the past few months. I've been
Mm-hmm.
following Charting Man Dan for like years.
Mm.
So the chart guys has been around for like 5 years. So here's something to think about. I think he's been around doing YouTube for at least like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably got like, I want to say 200,000 followers. So he's been at 100 and something thousand followers for like a long time.
Mm.
I don't know exactly, to be honest, how long Lambo Raul's been doing it, but I would assume with the high likelihood he's been doing it like a lot shorter, not like 3 years, but I mean like maybe
Yeah.
1 to 2 years, and he's got like almost 500,000.
More followers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both talking about trading for the most part, but both done differently.
Done really differently. One's more for entertainment and one's as a resource. YouTube.
Point here,
Go ahead.
how you make people feel is really important.
Yeah. So the chart guys are playing in YouTube circa 2015.
Yeah,
YouTube was a
that's right.
resource platform. How do I tie a double wins or not?
Mhm.
How do I do X, Y, and Z? It's still that, but it's become a form of entertainment. Like you go to YouTube to have fun,
Yeah,
not
sure.
just do a tutorial on how to change my car battery.
Dude, my parents don't even watch cable anymore. My mom and dad like have YouTube on the TV now.
Wow.
My dad
the
like
YouTube TV.
yeah, the YouTube app TV on the
Well, I
TV.
think, man, I think it's going to get really wild in the next 5 years with creators taking over the channels.
Yeah.
Like the Discovery Channel, instead of that, it's going to be 5 content creators that travel the globe and
Yeah.
give you their vlogs,
It's-
their personal experiences.
I agree with that.
Okay.
It's like with my dad, instead of watching Fox News, for example, he might be watching a guy, like
A guy,
yeah.
you know,
And those guys are there. I've seen it.
they're there, and it's going to continue to be more and more of that type of creator. And I think Gary Vee said this. I think there's a saying. What did he say? Everyone in the 2000s was fighting for their 15 minutes of fame, but now people are fighting for the 15 people they can be famous to.
Mm.
And so what that means is the 2015 style was a flash in the pan, kind of trying to build a brand and usurp value during your famous stint. Maybe you had a website that you could plug in or whatever. But now it's like all of these micro communities being created. It's how do you become famous to 15 people that can, and that's an exaggeration, but I mean, it really could be in the future, in 5 or 10 years, if everyone is creating, who are you famous to? Who are you getting money from? It becomes this small, eclectic group of other creators doing different things that then become a digital society. Like you have, like right now, maybe you have in your friend group a firefighter and a police officer and an accountant.
Listening to that, it's kind of dope too, though, because you see like how humanity has like evolved over time, where it used to be more like localized and decentralized.
Right.
Shout out to you, blockchain people.
Shout out.
Our societies used to be more decentralized, and you have these micro economies, or would you call it micro communities?
Yeah.
And now we're kind of like going back to that, but just like borderless.
Yeah.
I feel like if we got to the point where
And-
like everyone was creating and you had these 15 people groups, they could be self-sustainable, but then they still interact and engage with other groups too. So
yeah, it's crazy to think about. And
yeah,
I
it
think
is
that's
crazy
where
to
it's
think
going.
about, because it makes me feel like you wouldn't be a person in the way that we think of it anymore. You'd be like a collective.
And it'd be a contract, like a contracting and ever changing like set of interests that you compare on a scale that other people are comparing as well to their group. And it's just like the popular kids in high school. Like someone was the cheerleader and someone was the football player, and people looked at them for a certain thing. So you would have these factions that are created by, if you have 10 groups of 10 people, so that's 100 people, 10 groups of 10 people, maybe the top 10 people would be the best race car driver, the best firefighter, the best blah, 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 blah. So they want to sit in that group. Who's going to interact with that group? Maybe number 2. So you have groups 1 through 10. Number 1 is the best. Maybe it's like professional athletes, and you have semi-professional, then you have, college athletes and dropouts, blah, blah, blah. So you're not going to have a lot of overlap between 1 and 10. And I think that's just because of the perception of value. 10 isn't perceived very positively by 1.
And vice versa.
And maybe vice versa because of jealousy or because of a differing set of
it would just
poverty
be so
standards.
far away.
And what would poverty mean in a digital nomadic society with no borders, where there are groups of eclectic people that come together to form the new micro communities of the world? It's not going to be poverty of dollars. It's going to be poverty of importance, I think. That's like the currency is
trust.
No. Well, okay, attention. Trust that leads to attention. Who is watching you say what you're saying? Who is making you feel important for saying that thing? Like, there are a lot of beautiful women right now on OnlyFans that get no love, like no people. They probably feel ugly, but in reality, they're not ugly. So it's just interesting. The currency, as much as these girls like the money, they literally just want to feel important.
And that comes from the attention.
And right now they are getting money because of the attention that's linked to the importance, and they feel good. But what if money wasn't in the equation? They would not stop being on OnlyFans. If there was no money to gain, there would still be girls on OnlyFans, and there's nothing to explain that, I don't think, yet. Like, people aren't. I know that's just an example of a community group, but they're not going to go, oh, I'm making no money, I'm not going to put my body on the internet. They want the attention. It's a currency. So I just question, in 5, 10, 20, 30 years, what happens when there's no currency to formally exchange? And would that mean in your micro group that you have to make someone that mows lawns feel important, so then your lawn gets mowed? And then conversely, does that person that mows lawns have to make a doctor feel important and taken care of, so then he can get surgery or whatever? So it really becomes a barter beg and
Yeah.
barter system based off of the value that you create as a human in a need based society.
I like to make a
Wow.
point on that. I like to make one point on that. You have to have skills and be really good. Be aware of like what you want to be good at. Pick what you
Yes,
want to be good
what
at,
you want to be good at.
and like build those skills. You have to build the skills. Period. No
That's why I've
question
been
asked.
saying my quote of um, who do you want to, or what do you want to do in the world to make money, and who do you want to be doing it with? Because like the premise I had been thinking of at that point was, what if money didn't exist? Like, where is value creation going to occur in the future? And it's at the community level by having things done within within the community, either physically or digitally. So physically would be a physical service or product that you need, or digitally would be digital product. Well, I guess we're digital service. Wow. Okay. So
And
there's only
this makes me excited to like make it to be a little self-centered here. This makes me excited to be a part of like those communities for those different people, like
yeah.
charting, like the charting guys, Lambo Raul, Mamba FX, or like King Swaggy C or whatever, like Q Banks, all those forex trade, YouTube forex traders.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I want to be involved in those communities. Well, I want to say like I want to have fun. I want to feel like engaged. And well, actually, okay. So you asked me a question that I wasn't ready to answer, but what
My
I want to
bad.
finish by saying what I wanted to say first. What I wanted
Sure.
to say was I want to I want to try to not only like create something that could help that I could sell and like help people 10% behind me as a guide, but I want to just think as an exercise, a mental exercise to myself how I could, if and how I could like offer this service to those people. So to
Mm.
answer your question, why I'd want to like being engaged specifically might be for that. But as far as like other reasons, I haven't really thought on it.
Offer those services to like the big YouTubers now, or
Yeah,
to the people that are in your community.
to the big YouTubers.
Oh,
How
I
could
think the offering will be building a community, because people, and so they have a following now, but a following is not a community. People could come in tomorrow building a community, and the people that follow them could be like, oh, I'm going to go over there. Boom. So as the community structures start to play out in reality, like the groupings. As the groupings start to play out in reality,
I'm
the
gonna
person who creates the community will have more leverage than any individual person that has a skill. That is my assumption. It's not obviously full formed yet, and it's going to iterate, because you were saying you need to have a skill, but
but
I
that
think
could be a skill
it
too, community
exactly.
building.
I think it's a skill in building a proper community where people's personal interests align with their personal contribution. So that's the create and consume. So what are they contributing, and what are they interested in consuming? And if they can be aligned through a curator of a group to be comfortable in that ecosystem, they're a lot more likely to thrive. So if you're the person that's in that ecosystem connected to it as the trader, and you tell the chart guys, hey, I'm in this community and you can't be because I did something that you didn't to qualify for it, they're going to have to go to you, even if they have the audience, because you're the one with all the connections. So I don't really know how that really works.
That reinforces the topic of being holistic too, because if
Yeah.
you're literally just being a human and like in its fullest form, not operating off of like limiting whatever, and you see something you like and you get engaged with these people, you see people that you want to help that need to help,
Yes.
and you know you can help them, you help them, and you're literally just like expanding who you are as a person.
Yeah. And as basic as that sounds, I think a lot of people do just learn the thing and do the thing, and they don't like over interact or try to do the growing phase of it. They grow, but they grow in a selfish way. Like they're like,
Yeah.
oh, if I learn this skill, I can make more money. But like if the skill demand changes because of the supply, then what is the new currency of the skill? And it has to be people needing it. So then this is what I thought through this part before. There's what makes a guy that does insurance different than a guy that is a trash truck driver? Choices and desire. The trash truck driver could have been the guy that does insurance. The insurance guy could be the guy that does the trash truck. There are not that many industries that and I say even, I respect truck drivers, but I'm just using them as an example on the lower end of the economic spectrum. Let's say they wanted to be one of 10 other things tomorrow. They could go do that. Like if they had the formal training, they could be an accountant. Math isn't hard. Being an accountant is not hard, but it takes a skill set that this person didn't train into themselves.
And actually, we could say I'm an example of that because I did work construction and I did drive a truck.
Oh,
like I'm a web
perfect.
developer.
Yeah. And people might go, wow, that doesn't align, but like, why would it not align? You've made a set of decisions that now give you the skills to be a web developer. It's like any new business, and this funnels into now, any new business that's created, that person is technically an amateur. Because even if they had the skill, they don't have the skill of being a business owner. Or if they were a business owner, maybe they don't have the skill of doing that industry. So everything is just a function of products and timing. Products, what was I saying? Oh, sorry. Everything is just a function of choices that have products, like outcomes, and then the timing of like, I'm going to start this new business tomorrow. Or for your example, I'm going to stop being a truck driver. There are probably still companies that need truck drivers, but if you're like, I'm going to enter a different foreseeable workforce that has need, which is being a web developer, and you get web developing clients because it was my first gig or my second gig, or, oh, I ran a pricing discount. Everyone has a story of how they've had to do that because they build clientele and then they build the skill. Mm-hmm. So then you become valuable for that thing. And I've always grappled with like, why, for example, why would someone want to install fence every day or clean out porta potties? You know how shitty that would be? Literally. But you know how shitty that would be? But that's just because I don't have the skill set that enjoys that. My skill set is sitting in an air conditioning room,
honestly,
feeling comfortable.
I don't think anyone would like intentionally choose to be a porta potty cleaner. You know, and to be honest, bro, I thought about that too. Like growing up and fresh out of high school, I had so many limiting beliefs, and at that time, like minimum wage was like $7 or something. Mm-hmm. And cleaning, like doing the porta potty, whatever, was like
really?
12.
Oh, okay. So it's more money, so that's why people do it.
Just, but still, you can make money doing so many things.
No, you can make money doing anything.
Yeah.
So like, how has society filtered us down to industries that, like, there's unemployment rate everywhere, but there's also a lot of employment and opportunity spread across all industries. So any person in the potential workforce today could go fill a gap in any of those places tomorrow. And it makes me question the whole economic system, because I'm like, why do I need to hire anyone to do anything when I could have just gone and learned how to do their job? So pushing that thought forward, because it's kind of complex, or maybe I didn't articulate it perfectly, but time becomes the only function that limits us from learning and doing everything else that would need to be done in our lives. Like, let's say I am an accountant. Do I want to learn how to fix my shower? Do I want to learn how to mow my grass? Do I want to learn how to do blah, 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 blah? So you have to ask, why do I not do all that? Is it personal desire? Is it lack of time? Is it you need so much money to own the lawnmower, the tile cutter, the thing that you do whatever with a shower curtain to like make it or whatever? Is the reason economy exists for every person to invest capital and get a credit line or something that is promising future economic value, to then provide that economic value at a cheaper upfront cost to other people? It's like to mow your lawn, $30 to mow your lawn, paying someone to do it, or $250 to buy a lawnmower and then the time that it takes to do it. So it's like economy is just like a whirlwind of increased credit and lack of desire to learn and inability to afford.
Mm.
And I know I started like saying all
I
that
wonder
stuff,
if
but like,
anyone's made a formula for that, like a legit.
I don't know. We should probably look that up. But I think I encapsulated it really well. I'm gonna go back and rewatch this and I'll like try to package it. But it's such a complex thing. Like, why? But that's the question. Why? Why do we need labor the way we need labor? And I don't know. Except the inability to, or the lack of desire, inability to fund the expenditure, and whatever the third thing was. I'll re-reference it. But
Man, this
yeah.
is a really interesting topic. I'll tell a story.
Okay.
Growing up and like through my 20s, I told myself that I could do anything, and I did,
Mm-hmm.
with respect to like living in a house and a car and everything. So I was the guy. We'll just take my parents' house, for example, or my own house when I lived in Lawton. I can cut the grass and I can fix anything on the car and I can fix anything in the house. Like if an electrical outlet burn out or something, or if something happened with like the AC or something, I could figure it out and fix it. So I could literally do so many jobs. But then, like you said, time is important. And if I did all those things, I could save the money. It's like a trade off. Like I could pay someone to do all those different things and pay out so much money,
Mm-hmm.
but then I'd be free of time to do something else.
Mm-hmm. A
Or,
job.
yeah, and we could get on that. Or I could try to save money, which was my framework. And I think that's like, what's the word?
Conservative.
No,
Oh.
no, try to save money. That's like a like not
Oh.
not an abundance
Yeah.
mindset. That's a
It's a scarcity mindset.
scarcity mindset. So I would I learned how to fix the car and I learned how to cook and I learned how to fix the house and do everything. So I could do everything but the thing, something else. So like
To make money.
yeah, so to your point, like why and why for economy, I think we all have to get our own answer, but for me, like living through that, I would say it goes to the thing you've been saying, bro. You can make money doing anything. What do you want to do and who do you want to do it with? The thing is, I think the question, got to ask the right question
Yeah.
to get the right answer. Or anyway, the point is, you got to ask the right question. So I think the question really is just simply, what do you want to do? It's your life.
I agree, but I also like this is where that gets scary. If you are going and doing something else to make more money than what it costs to maintain everything, that has to be the psychology of everyone.
And if
I
that
go
was,
out and make more money than what it takes to live a cushy life. And maybe I guess there's a difference of standard of living and like expectation, but let's
yeah, so
assume
there's
everyone had the
arbitrage
same
there.
expectation. Well, yeah, and I guess you can never get rid of the arbitrage of the human being or the human psyche expecting certain things or not.
Hmm.
But I just wonder
So
in a
that's the
perfect
opportunity.
economy, well, yeah, that's the
That
opportunity.
keeps the growth moving forward.
But that's the thing. If everyone lived the life you just explained and they went out and did a thing that freed up their time or
So
that
let's
made
say
them money to not do the other things that were just around their
So
house.
let's say you had a hyper-focused web developer, you had a hyper-focused lawnmower, you had a hyper-focused mechanic, and they're all operating at their peak.
Yeah.
Then how could one afford the other? Like, how could I afford to
Yeah.
pay if someone's
It's
paying?
weird to me.
Yeah, if the hyper-focused lawnmower person is like a business owner, and they can demand or command like more in exchange for their service. But see, that
Well,
goes
it's
to
like,
the
where's
point
the
of
money coming from? If
well,
everyone is making more
will there
than what
be
it costs to live, creating savings, where is the additional value being taken from? I asked that in a certain way. Where is it being taken from? It's not being created, it's being taken. I don't know.
interesting?
And I get your point. Like, but then on your train of thought, if I was the lawnmower guy, I would say you're sitting in a fucking office, lower your price. And
if I were the
I
guy in the
love web
office, I would
development.
say, "You're just cutting fucking grass. Like I
Yeah,
could
it's
do
sweaty
that."
as hot as fuck outside.
Yeah.
So, but then, like, I wonder what happens to the value of work, because let's think about it. So, if it becomes a credit problem, do more people have lawnmowers or computers?
Hmm.
Computers.
Yeah. Everyone has computers.
Everyone has a fucking computer. Everyone has a phone.
So the lawnmower
So
might
the
be more.
lawnmower guy is able to arbitrage the supply and demand. Because how many people want to mow lawns? Way fewer than want to play on their phone. And I'm not undervaluing like being a web developer, because I know it's valuable. I know it has been valuable in a digital economy, creating a large digital footprint. But I've always wondered, like, the choice is easy for me. I would want to go be a web developer, or I would want to do something inside instead of outside. And so there's so many people like me that don't want to mow lawns. What happens when everyone wants to be a web developer? Like, obviously the supply increases, demand can't meet up with supply, so price falls. That's really like the elasticity curve or whatever. That's easy. But that's really not the way humans think. They think, well, tech pays 100 grand a year or 150 grand a year. Like, they over index what the value is into the long term. And I just don't, I think there's a big credit problem, and it's not the credit problem everyone talks about. It's the credit problem of people at Google making 300K a year, getting houses based off of their income statements or their financial statements of 2 years of income. Like, they were able to get a $1.6 million house. What happens in 3 years when their salary drops to 200K? Or there are so many people wanting to come to the market to do computer stuff and no one to do lawn mowing stuff. So people start to leave tech as that valuation decreases, and then the lawn mowing thing increases. Like, I just wonder where this threshold occurs into the future from this point, because I thought it would have occurred already, but there's just been more and more tech created. So I guess, do you have any thoughts on that? I know it's very complex, and like, how the fuck would we know that? But
maybe we continue this, because this is like a whole.
Yeah, this is the whole thing, and we do need to go. Oh wow, it's 10:40. Yeah, this has been great, Tom. We turned the 5-minute actual fireside chat into a long time, which I am very happy about, because this is something that you and I would be talking about off camera too. So I'm glad, even if no one sees this, that we've been able to record it. This is our journey upward of asking the right questions. I like it. So until next time, everyone, like and follow for more. Thank you.